Hi everyone, thanks for joining me in my studio today. I hope you're all having a great day. This is part one of two videos. I've tried something a bit different, never done it before. We're looking at a painting. This is a watercolour painting painted in Artrage, and it's of a frosty autumn morning in the village where I live. Painted in watercolours, but the catch is I've also painted it in oils. So part one of the video, let's have a look at how I did the painting in watercolour. Part two, let's see how it came out in oils. So let's begin with the watercolour one. So this painting is painted in Artrage 6. I'm using mostly my own custom watercolour brushes. You see I've got them loaded in there. And the reason I'm using is I forgot I'd made them, to be honest. And I said I was going to put them out for people to use. And somebody reminded me, and I totally forgot that I'd made them. So I thought I'll give them another try. And this picture I thought really lent itself well for this subject matter, because it's one of the pictures I took on the cold, frosty autumn morning, walking up a lane where I live, and I thought I would do it perfect in watercolour. So as I said at the beginning of the video, I've also painted it in oils, because at the end of it I thought, well, I thought it was perfect to do in watercolours. Why don't I give it a go in oils? What you will notice about this watercolour though is I didn't do any pencil work to start with. Usually with watercolour I draw in the basic scene first and then start painting. But this time I didn't do that, and I do think it suffered for it, to be honest. I think I would have been better putting in a drawing, and I think I would have got a better result. Although, to be fair, I was quite happy with this, but I think it would have been looking a little bit more like a traditional painting if I'd done some pencil work to start with. You'll notice straight away I'm already on layer 2, because I've put in this really soft wet in wet local colour previously. Then I start over painting it, and now I'm putting in these sort of distant trees, and you can see I use the Artrage palette knife to soften off any edges that I want to soften off. So apart from that, I'm using mostly my own paintbrushes, but I'm using the Artrage to just blend away the edges, because I haven't been able to make a brush as good as that. So why reinvent the wheel? I think it's a brilliant palette knife, and there's no need to reinvent the wheel at all. So what I'm doing now, I'm using a glazing brush. So it's called glazing on wet, because what happens here is although it gives it this kind of a glazing effect, if I take the brush off and then put the brush back on again, it doesn't sort of overlay the paint like some glazing brushes. You put a mark on it, and then as soon as you lift the stylus and then put it down again, you get an odd edge, and you can't sort of keep that wet edge, what's called a wet edge, going, which is really what I wanted to do. So I'm got the rigger brush now, and I'm putting in lots and lots of branches and twigs and things, and this is layer 4 already. So again, I'm just building up those layers. Now I really like that. Now I think if I had left that like that, that would probably, and when I say that, I'm talking about the tree. If I'd have not messed about with a tree after that, I think that's pretty good. But I don't, do I? I keep going and building up layer on layer. I just felt that the greens were a little bit chemical looking, and I wanted them to get them a little bit more natural looking. Although, as you can see, I've changed lots of colours to the actual scene. I'm going in. I really like this sort of really bright, strong yellow rim light around all of the bushes and the tree. So I want to keep them in. That's important. And I'm sort of adding sort of more darks into the tree, and then sort of cutting away with it and putting more of the sky colour in, and making little holes where the light's shining through. I have to say, having done some conventional painting, if you haven't checked it out yet, pop over to my other channel, Steve Elliott, Fistful of Brushes, to check out the paintings I'm doing. They've all been in oil paintings so far, so don't forget to go and check them out. What I was going to say was, it's a lot easier to mix colours on a computer than it is in real life. I'd forgotten that you have to actually keep mixing your colours in real life. You can't just sort of pick them off a colour wheel. But anyway, having said that, let's get back to the painting. So I am on layer 7. I'm just keep adding those layers and building up the colour. And here I decided I wanted a little bit of purple in there. And I felt that I just wasn't getting the darks that I needed for those the shadow areas. I wanted them to be really, really dark. But as I start to build up the darks, I'm thinking that the sky is now looking really insipid and pale. And I know it's washed out on the photo. You can't see the sky at all. But I need to chunk up the sky a bit, I think, for the actual painting. It needs something a bit more substantial. I think I might be doing it now. Yeah. I had a couple of attempts at this, trying different things. Obviously, that doesn't work. So, and that doesn't work either. What I eventually did, I kind of went with a colour that was pretty close to the sky. Here we go. And I just wanted to get some sort of real definition around the tree. And then I think, it's too much sky now because I've lost it with the distant trees. So I take the eraser, lift that out, and use that harsh chaos brush just to soften that off. And then I like that kind of diffused look I've got on the right hand side, but the thicker paint on the left. So we've sort of got the sun positioned over on the right hand side. And that I felt made a much nicer composition. And then I felt I needed to just tweak the shape of the tree a little bit, so extend those branches into that new space I've made, and then no doubt I'll put some more colour on there. I felt that as I zoomed in on the photo, because although I've got the reference image there for you to see, once again, I was using the reference on a larger monitor. I could see these highlights that I just wanted to add in there, and a few darks as well. I felt just to balance it out. Again, those darks aren't particularly in the photo as dark as that, but I just wanted to pop them in. So it starts to become quite a detailed looking painting, I guess, for a watercolour. And I'm wondering if that's because I didn't do the sketch to start with. I felt it needed defining a little bit more, whereas if I'd have done the sketch, it probably wouldn't. It probably would have been okay with the very loose look to it. Put a little bit more definition of some trees in there. I wanted to bring the warm colours that are in the foreground a little bit higher up. So I've added a few of those in there just to sort of tie them into the painting a little bit more. Just so that it looks more balanced over the whole of the scene. Now, I think there I should have stopped. Definitely should have stopped, and that would have been the finished painting. But I didn't. How many times have I said that? And I carry on, and I could. I mean, this is on another layer, so I could take them out, I suppose. It's not a big deal. I just felt I got a little bit too much. In the end, I got too much detail in the foreground. What do you think? I'd like to know if you think it's okay or not. It's probably not as bad as I'm making out. It's all right, really, I suppose. So all I'm doing now, I'm adding final little bits of detail to the foreground. I want to kind of make it look a little bit more frosty, so I'm going in with some lighter colours and some almost whites in there, and I will sort of blend them away with the Harsh Chaos brush. I think that gives this nice frosty look, and then some pale blues. I also add some warmer colours. I'll put some reds in there, some darker colours as well, almost black. There we go, in with the yellow and the nice warm colours, getting right close to the end. So that is the watercolour version of my painting. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new to the channel, because I don't want you to miss the same painting painted in oils, and let's see how that one comes out. Thanks for staying with me till the very, very end. I hope you have a great day, and hopefully I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.